They say the worst kind of betrayal doesn't come from your enemies. It comes from the people who were supposed to love you, protect you, and stand by you when the rest of the world walked away. For 7 long years, I believed I had a family. I believed that my sacrifices meant something. My name is Anna, and until a few months ago, I was just quiet, ordinary woman trying to keep her family together. I worked jobs, skipped meals, and wore the same faded winter coat for 3 years straight. Also, my husband, David, could build his dream consulting firm. When we first married, we had nothing but a cramped studio, apartment, and a promise to love each other through thick and thin. But as the money started coming in, the promises started fading away. It wasn't just David who changed. It was his mother, Evelyn. The moment David bought a beautiful 5-bedroom suburban home, Evelyn moved in, and my life became a living nightmare. Suddenly, I wasn't the supportive wife who had helped build the foundation of their success. I was the poor girl who didn't fit into their new, glossy world. Evelyn would look at my worn hands and sigh loudly at the dinner table. "David, dear," she would say, not even bothering to lower her voice. "A man of your stature needs a woman who understands luxury, not someone who looks like she belongs in a discount grocery store." David wouldn't defend me. He would just stare at his phone, nodding silently. I swallowed my pride day after day, telling myself that marriages have rough patches. I reminded myself of the sweet boy I had married, hoping he was still in there somewhere. But what I didn't know that day, what I couldn't possibly have guessed as I scrubbed their floors and endured their insults, was that a massive storm was brewing. A storm that would strip me of everything I thought I owned, only to hand me a destiny that would leave David and his mother begging on their knees. It all started on a rainy Tuesday evening, a night that began with an unexpected letter and ended with my bags packed on the wet gravel driveway. The air inside the house was thick with tension. The moment I walked through the door after a grueling 12-hour shift, before I could even take off my coat, David and Evelyn were standing in the living room, their faces cold and expressionless, on the coffee table set to suitcases already packed. My heart dropped into my stomach. "David, what's going on?" I whispered, my voice trembling. David wouldn't look me in the eye. It was Evelyn who stepped forward, a cruel, satisfied smile playing on her lips. "It's over, Anna," she said sharply. "We are correcting a mistake. David has filed for divorce. We've already changed the locks, and your things are right there. You need to leave tonight." I looked at David, my vision blurring with tears. "David, please talk to me. After everything we'd been through, I gave up my college funds for your business. I worked myself to the bone." David finally looked up, his expression completely detached. "Anna, let's be realistic," he said, his voice flat. "We're in different leagues now. My business is thriving, and frankly, you're holding me back. You don't fit into my future. My mother is right. It's time for you to move on." The pain was so sharp it physically took my breath away. It felt as though a knife had been plunged into my chest and twisted. I looked at the man I loved, the man I had built a life with, and realized he was a complete stranger. They didn't just want a divorce. They wanted to humiliate me. They wanted to throw me out into the rain like garbage, leaving me with absolutely nothing. Evelyn grabbed my arm, her grip surprisingly tight, and shoved me toward the door. "Go back to the gutter you came from," she hissed, slamming the heavy oak door in my face. I stood on the dark, wet pavement, the pouring rain mixing with the hot tears streaming down my face. I had no money, no home, and my dignity had been completely shattered into a million pieces. I dragged my suitcases to a nearby 24-hour diner, shivering violently, wondering how I was going to survive the night. As I sat in a booth, staring blankly at a cup of black coffee, my phone buzzed. It was an unknown number. I answered with a hollow, broken voice. "Is this Anna Vance?" A formal, elderly voice asked. "Yes, it is," I whispered, My name is Arthur Pendleton. I am the senior executor for the estate of Thomas Sterling. Ma'am, I have been searching for you for weeks. Your estranged biological grandfather passed away last month. As his sole living relative, you have just inherited his entire estate, including his real estate portfolio and liquid assets, totaling $45 million. We need you in our downtown office tomorrow morning to sign the paperwork. I sat there, frozen. The universe had a strange, twisted sense of timing. Just an hour ago, I was thrown out for being too poor. And now, I was wealthier than David and his mother could ever dream of being in 10 lifetimes. In that moment, the crushing pain inside me began to shift. The sorrow melted away, replaced by a cold, burning sense of strength. They wanted to play a game of power. Fine, it was time to show them who really held the cards. The next morning, I didn't look like the broken woman who had been kicked out into the rain. I wore a tailored black suit, my hair pinned back neatly, and walked into the attorney's office with my head held high. After signing the documents, I discovered something fascinating. Among my grandfather's real estate holdings was the exact commercial building where David's consulting firm leased its luxury office space. Not only that, but my grandfather's estate held the primary line of credit that funded David's recent business expansion. I didn't rush. I played the long game, waiting exactly 3 weeks until the divorce papers were finalized. David, eager to rid himself of me, had rushed the process, waiving any claims to my future assets, assuming I would never have any. The day after the divorce was official, I walked into David's corporate office unannounced. He was in the middle of a high-stakes meeting with his top investors, his mother sitting proudly beside him in the conference room. When I walked in, David's face flushed with anger. "Anna, what are you doing here?" he snapped, standing up. "Security, get this woman out of here. She has no right to be in this building." "Actually, David," I said calmly, tossing a thick folder onto the glass conference table, "I have every right. You see, I bought this building last week. Well, technically, I inherited it, along with the bank that holds your company's primary business loan." Evelyn laughed nervously, her face pale. "You inherited? Don't make me laugh, you penniless child." The lead investor picked up the folder, read the documents, and his eyes went wide. He looked at me, then looked at David with horror. "David, she's telling the truth. She is the sole owner of Sterling Holdings. She owns your lease, and she owns your debt." I smiled, looking directly into David's trembling eyes. "Your lease requires a flawless financial background check for renewal, David, and considering your company just defaulted on its quarterly milestone, I am calling in your business loan immediately. Furthermore, your eviction notice from this building takes effect at the end of the business day." The room fell into a chaotic silence. David collapsed back into his chair, his face completely drained of color. Evelyn looked as if she were about to faint, her hands shaking violently. In a single moment, the empire they had looked down on me from was completely dismantled. They had thrown me out to protect their wealth, only to lose everything because of their arrogance. As I walked out of the building, leaving them to face the consequences of their greed, I felt a profound sense of peace. My revenge wasn't loud or violent. It was simply justice taking its natural course. I realized that true wealth isn't about the millions in your bank account, it's about the integrity of your character. They had lost their souls in pursuit of money, and in the end, they lost that too. I drove away into the bright afternoon sun, finally free, ready to build a life based on truth, love, and a future they could never touch again.